Everyone thinks Sputnik was the only satellite in orbit in October 1957. They are wrong. That month, a second, mysterious object was tracked by observatories around the globe. It wasn't Sputnik. It certainly wasn't acknowledged by the Soviet Union. For decades, this phantom rocket fueled whispers. Was it a secret US launch failure, an unknown Soviet twin, or something else entirely? The year was 1957. The space race was heating up, a silent, tense battle between the United States and the Soviet Union. On October 4th, the world changed forever when Sputnik 1, a polished sphere with 4 long antennas, became humanity's first artificial satellite. Sputnik's launch shocked America, igniting fears of Soviet technological superiority. The US quickly scrambled to accelerate its own Project Vanguard, hoping to put an American satellite into orbit before the year was out. But just days after Sputnik 1, on October 10th, amateur radio operators and professional astronomers began reporting something peculiar. Another object, distinct from Sputnik, was also circling the Earth. Its orbital path was slightly different. Its signal, when detected, was inconsistent, sometimes weak, sometimes non-existent. It was dubbed Sputnik 2, but the Soviets denied its existence. They were preparing another satellite, yes, but not this one. This mystery object, designated 1957 Beta by some tracking stations, perplexed experts. Was it space debris from Sputnik's launch? Unlikely, given its stable orbit and occasional signals. Was it another secret Soviet launch? Moscow remained silent. The whispers began. Could this be a failed American launch? Project Vanguard was under immense pressure. Was it possible an early attempt had gone largely unnoticed, its partial success masked by the Sputnik frenzy? The US was certainly trying. There were unconfirmed reports of several American test rockets exploding on the launch pad or failing mid-flight in the months leading up to Sputnik. Such failures were classified, kept from public view to avoid embarrassment. One theory pointed to a specific, unannounced test launch from Cape Canaveral, rumored to have occurred around October 5th or 6th, 1957. The idea was that the main payload failed to reach orbit, but a component, perhaps an upper stage, achieved a partial, unstable trajectory. This phantom rocket was observed for about a week, its faint presence a ghost in the nascent space age. Then, its signals faded entirely, its orbit decayed, and it presumably burned up in Earth's atmosphere, leaving behind only questions. So what was it? The most widely accepted explanation today leans towards it being debris, specifically the conical fairing from Sputnik 1 launch vehicle. This protective nose cone would have separated after launch, and indeed, some debris was tracked. However, this explanation isn't without its own challenges. The reported orbital characteristics of the phantom object didn't perfectly match what was expected of Sputnik's fairing, and the occasional signals, that remains a persistent puzzle. Some argue the signals could have been random radio interference or even misinterpretations by overwhelmed amateur operators. But the consistency of multiple, independent reports from diverse locations adds weight to the idea of a genuine object. The US government, for its part, never officially acknowledged any failed orbital launches around that precise time. Publicly, their first attempt to orbit a satellite, Vanguard TV-3, wouldn't happen until December 6, 1957, a spectacular, very public failure. Yet the secrecy surrounding early rocket development was intense. The stakes were incredibly high. Admitting to a failed orbital attempt, even a partial one, especially right after Sputnik, would have been a massive blow to national morale and prestige. So while the Sputnik 1 fairing theory is the most scientifically plausible today, the lingering doubts persist. The exact orbital details, the faint, unconfirmed signals, and the broader context of Cold War secrecy leave a sliver of possibility open. Could the Phantom rocket have been an early, unacknowledged US attempt at orbital flight, a partial success overshadowed and then buried by the Soviets' triumph and America's own subsequent public failures, we may never know for certain. The Phantom rocket serves as a fascinating footnote in the space race, a reminder that the early days of space exploration were filled with not just triumphs, but also secret failures, near misses, and enduring mysteries, all played out against a backdrop of global tension. It highlights how much of history, especially during periods of intense competition, remains hidden, waiting for someone to look a little closer. Next, explore the untold story of NASA forgotten lunar landers.